Hi, welcome to Meeting Mapper for Salesforce. In this short video, I will show you how to create a meeting, work within the meeting, and export the details of the meeting. As you can see, I'm in an opportunity right now within Salesforce. To start a new meeting, I'm going to go in here and click New Meeting. This brings up the new meeting page. I'm just going to do a subject. I'm going to put training. As you can see, because I started from an opportunity, it's already mapped to this opportunity. I can change it here to an account, campaign, case, or lead. I'll leave it at the opportunity. I can select the time to have the meeting. I can select it in the future. Click OK. Now I'm going to save the meeting. And what this is going to do, this is going to bring me inside the meeting page. This is where I go ahead and add meeting attendees, take my notes, my goals, my objectives. This is the single interface into Salesforce that will populate the total ecosystem of Salesforce. Give it a second to load here. As you can see by the default behavior, we get a cloud as the meeting space. I can change it by clicking on it to best represent where I'm physically at. I'll leave it at the oval. As you can see, because I'm logged into Salesforce, it already added me as a user or a meeting attendee. To add attendees, I go into Add Attendee. I can add from my company, for example, if my sales engineer is part of the meeting, or product manager, or VP of sales, whatever, I can add it here. Or I can add from the organization that I'm in the meeting with, the customer. I can look up other account or contacts. This is, for example, partners that may be involved in the meeting. And I can add a new contact in the meeting, and this person will automatically be attached to the account in Salesforce. So it cuts down the redundancy of having to create it in here and then create it in Salesforce. We make that step for you. So I'm going to add a new contact from the customer. I'm going to go ahead and click Martina here. And I'm going to add Tyler. And I'm going to add Sally. Go back into the meeting here in a second. As you can see, it adds back these meeting attendees in the stance that they were in the last meeting they attended for this opportunity. This gives you a frame of reference to start working on. Well, Martina was green or 4 during the course of the meeting. You're not hearing the same buying signals or some negative comments. You can change her to another stance. I can move players around the table depicting how they're physically sitting, group them based on their stance, their role, however it best illustrates what's going on in the meeting to me. To change somebody's stance or role during the meeting, I just click on the person's name. You can see I have many stance here. I can push for, against. Let's say we're not hearing some buying signals like we're based on your methodology. What's the level of participation? She seems a little distracted today. And I can choose what role or roles to have that she's playing in this opportunity. I could take notes about her for this particular meeting, and did she call in, and I can add a next step or action item to Martina. And I'll schedule it here in the future. Users. And I will click save. What you're going to see, Martina now turns red, and she has a flag next to her, and she has an action item symbol or letters next to her. The flags indicate that this person is a particular role and a stance that could jeopardize the entire opportunity. Down here, when we create a meeting, we also create a chatter group for that meeting. So for example, myself and my system engineer are in a meeting, we can chatter in real time back and forth and the customer doesn't know it. I can also link a file in a meeting. This is very helpful if I'm in a contracts negotiation, RFP, RFI, RFP response. I just choose a file. And I'm going to take this one right here. Click open. Share it. Now this document becomes a historical part of the record for this meeting, and really nobody can say, hey, we didn't discuss this. Yes, we did. Also, you'll notice on the right hand side there is the navigation buttons. The back button takes me back to where this meeting is linked to. Save, of course. Clone if I'm having weekly meetings or the meeting with the same people. Again, this cuts down the number of steps that I need to do. Add attendees and export, which I'll get to here in a second. Here you see the account that this opportunity is related to, the subject or title, the time of the meeting, the goal. Here's where I put my goal or my objectives for the meeting. Were they met yes or no? By default, we say yes, but you can change this. Notes, and these are public notes. These are notes that everyone will see. Spell that again. Internal notes, those are only for the account team or management. Here, if the meeting is completed, when this is selected, we do something special, which is we take the notes section only and add it to notes and attachments for the opportunity. What I like to do here in the internal notes is I like to put my questions. These are questions that I want to ask during the meeting, and the customer doesn't know or will see these questions. I just like to add them, or I'll add any information in the notes that I want to make sure that I bring up. So I'm going to go ahead and save the meeting. Let's say that, for example, that my manager needs to know what happened in the meeting. It's a very important meeting, but he's not logged into Salesforce all the time. So what I can do is I can click on export here, click on private, and what this does, this brings up a formatted PDF of everything that's went on in that meeting. The email address, the stamps, the role, the notes, level of participation of every meeting attendee in this meeting. I can send it to my management very quickly. If I want to send something to the customer to make sure that I get consensus on what we talked about, I can hit public export, and you'll see this is a very sanitized version of what went on in the meeting, and I can send it to them immediately. Meeting is completed. Click this right here. You can always go back in the meeting to change things. It's not etched in stone once you click the completed button. You can go back and change things based on feedback for your team. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Once it's saved, I'm going to go back, which just takes me back to the opportunity. And you're going to see that now in this meeting section of the opportunity, I have a new meeting called training. I open activity because the meeting is in the future, and I already have assigned Martina a next or action item coming out of that meeting. It's not an activity history yet because the meeting needs to be completed, date and time stamped before it's added to the activity history. And notes and attachments, just for the clarification of the training, I said it was completed, and what happens is I take that note section, the public note section, and I append it right here for a very quick review. Let's say that I'm done with my meeting and we're doing some account planning for this particular opportunity. So what I can do is I can export or create a PDF of the meeting, of all the meetings or all the activity, click Opportunity Report, and what you're going to see is a fully formatted PDF that has not only the meetings that I've done, but also have you identified the executive sponsor, the economic buyer, the technical buyer, a champion. Every meeting that's ever happened for this particular opportunity puts it in this report in a chronological order. Not only the meetings, but if I've done anything else in this opportunity, for example, other activities, I've sent a letter. I didn't put a due date, but it was signed to Travis, to Billy. So not only the meetings, but everything that's ever happened in this opportunity. So now when I do an opportunity review or an account review, I have all this information readily available to be able to help me forecast or determine where I'm at in this opportunity. I also can do an opportunity timeline. This shows me in a visual representation everybody that's been involved in this opportunity in the meetings, when they come into the meeting, when their stance changes, when they go out of the meeting. This helps me to say, get ready for the next meeting, go who is for, against, neutral, and when somebody comes, why did Mike join and why did James join? Are they in contracts or legal, and is this opportunity better than I anticipate? And it cycles through every meeting that's ever been done for this opportunity. Not only do we update the opportunity, but we also update the account. So if I'm going to go into an account, I can look in here and you're going to see that Acme right here is my account name. I have many opportunities associated with this account. Show all the meetings here. And you can see now that this meeting shows up as part of the account, open activity, activity history, and notes and attachments. So I've updated everything in Salesforce from the meeting page in Meeting Mapper. Kind of reiterate here, I can start a meeting from the meetings page. I can start a meeting from an opportunity, a case, campaign, or lead, and they all start the same way. They all created the same way. Meeting Mapper. Good meetings generate great revenue. Thank you.